Now, in terms of child abuse, I know you said there's physical and emotional. I mean, sometimes we are talking mostly here to parents about how they can protect their child, but sometimes the emotional and physical abuse comes from the parents.
Actually, yes. Physical and emotional abuse are mostly from parents, from caregivers, it might be teachers, but those who are very close to the child. And the closer the relationship is, the harder, or let's say the stronger the effect of this abuse on the child. Yeah. Or more intense. And this is a very important point that you mentioned, Alia. We need really to work on protecting our children from abusing them from child abuse, especially emotional abuse. Something like comparing a child with his brother or sister is a type of abuse, and maybe we would think, why is it considered an abuse? We are just trying to encourage the child, which is a common phrase that we hear from parents. Actually, nobody gets encouraged by comparing him or her to another person. We as adults, we are never encouraged or motivated by comparing us to someone else. We actually get discouraged. And even the relationship with that person gets affected a lot. So if we are comparing the child with his cousin or with his brother or with his sister, then this child most likely will not like this relationship with the other person he is compared with. And he will make sure that he will not get the thing that his parents are encouraging him to do. He will make sure he will not get it done. And this is actually, we've been discussing it in a group discussion between parents and teenagers. What we did, we brought a group of parents and a group of children, but not for those parents. So, so nothing happens.
They don't fight.
They don't fight, exactly. And one of the questions was about comparison. And most of the teens were saying, we don't really get encouraged by this comparison. And one of them, she said, now I don't speak with my sister because my mother keeps on comparing me with her. I'm not like her and I can't be like her. And that's why we don't speak to each other right now. So what we are doing by comparison, we are telling the child, you are not good enough. You need to be like that person to be good enough. And even when we compare him, we are telling him, this is a way of evaluating yourself. You have to compare yourself with someone else to know the value of yourself, which is, again, not true. We need them when they grow up that they have the value on their own. They have their own value inside, and they have to realize it. As long as they are comparing themselves with others, they can't realize this power or strength that they have inside, and which is true for teens or children and everybody else.
That's very interesting because, I work a lot with, in my field, nutrition, I work a lot with people who have weight problems and eating disorders. And almost always, the eating disorder and the weight problem goes back to something that the mother did at some point. Your mother's voice is always in your head.
Yes.
And you're either not good enough, you're not fat enough, you're not thin enough, you're not eating enough. It's in the back. And I work with adults now who don't realize it, but when we go back and analyze what started their weight problem, it goes back to one of the parents. Most likely it's the mother. I know it's hard to say that because as a mother you feel pressured enough. And to have a child grown up come back to you and say, you are the reason why I am miserable now. Because all mothers have good intentions, but sometimes good intentions go wrong.
Yes, it is good intentions. By no means a mother would, or a father, or even a close caregiver would like to hurt their children. It's only the way we have been raised up. Yes. And we think that, okay, this is the way we know, so we will continue doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, what do you do then? Because I have also mothers that come to me now with, for example, their 8-year-old child or their 9-year-old child, and she tells me in front of the child, I need you to help him lose weight because it's getting out of hand. He's becoming fat. And these are terms that I don't like using to begin with, let alone discussing the child as if he's an invisible entity. And we're talking about how, without even asking how the child feels or how that problem makes him feel. So what advice would you give to the parents to do instead of that? I mean, let's make it at least a practical interview where parents who are doing that and now are saying, oh my God, what am I doing to my child, can now have tips from now onwards of what they can or cannot do.
Maybe the most important thing is the child knows that he's, as he is, thin or fat or tall or short, he is precious to his parents, and he is important in this whole world. The creator of this world did not create any person just like this. It's an addition. No. Any person comes to this life, he is a value. He can add something. He is different. And that's why we are all different from each other. Realizing this as a parent is very important, because if we keep on, even to ourselves, sometimes we don't speak out with our children and tell them, you should do so or so. But in our minds, I wish my child looks like the neighbor's child. That child is very helpful, he's very nice, he's very cute. But we can also focus on our children and where are their strengths. If the children sees their strength inside, then it's most likely that they will feel good about themselves, and we can help them in their weaknesses. An important point that they see that this is a weakness that they want really to overcome. I mean, the children themselves, they need to see it. Because if, for example, for us, he has to finish his homeworks by this time. If what we do is nagging all the time, it does not help. At the end, we get tired, the children get tired, and the work does not get done. We need really to help them to see the world in a different way, to see each thing, what does it mean on a larger scale? How does it affect his entire life? Without criticizing or even humiliating the child. Because when we do these approaches, or calling him names or really using words that put him down, it does not help. It's our anger that we are trying to revenge from what's happening, that we use these words. But at the end, we are destroying this child. We are not building him. So we need to focus. We want to build him. We need to help really in building him and not in destroying him. Sometimes the child has done a mistake, and this mistake needs to be really rectified, corrected. We need to sit together and explain it in a silent and good way, that this mistake has been done. This is not a right way to do so and so, and it needs to be redo it or whatever. But we don't need to go harsh on destroying the self-image of the child. This part, destroying the self-image of the child, does not help in any way. And maybe a good way also to have a personal relationship or a close relationship with every child separately, with every one of our children. Yeah. And to have a spare time with them where we can speak, and even to encourage them to speak about themselves. And this will only happen if we speak about ourselves. Not about the big achievements that we are doing, about our daily lives, and even about our mistakes, about disappointments, and how we are planning to go about them. This will make them think that, okay, everybody can make
our own mistakes.
About our own mistakes. Yeah. And how we are thinking of going on and what we will do about this disappointment or this mistake. Now, many parents, they raise the question, okay, if we do this, then our children, whenever we speak about them, they will say, you did that mistake too.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the environment that we create in the home. From first time telling the child what we did as a mistake will not make him happy the next time to speak about his mistake. Yeah. It's the environment, the open environment in which he feels it's okay, I can sit and speak with my parents. We do this on regular basis and we respect each other. We never attack each other, no matter what. We can respect each other and we can speak about the tiny things, mistakes that happened.